Welcome along, fellow time travelers and strange historians. This time around, we're going to check out more of the treasures in Lauren Bacall's Dakota apartment. You can see some really cool snaps, some of which you may have never seen before. This time, we're going to focus on her library. Before I begin, please like and share the show and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Now please join me around the campfire. As you may know from my previous shows about Lauren Bacall's apartment, people have left numerous comments that her place seems dirty and messy and cluttered. And so, as with the others, the purpose of this show is to address this incorrect perception while also celebrating the unique charm of Lauren Bacall and her home. Her library was located on the northeast corner of the apartment. Its east-facing windows offered beautiful views of Central Park. There were no windows on the north side of her library, since there was, and still is, another apartment along the north side of the 4th floor. Now, let's check out her treasures. This is a bronze called Eliza that was made in 1996 by Robert Graham. It was offered at auction starting at $5,000. This work is number 2 from an edition of 6. Lauren Bacall owned a lot of artwork, including this lithograph poster in colors on wove paper signed in pencil and dated and inscribed to LB, with love, Jean. This was done by Jean Negulesco in 1956 and was offered at auction beginning at $600. This is another Black Forest-style carved oak hall chair from the first half of the 20th century. The other one was located in her foyer. It was offered at auction beginning at $800. This is a 19th century oil-on-canvas painting of a red cow by Clinton Loveridge. In addition to this painting, she also had one of a cow looking up and also a painting of a sheep. The red cow painting was offered at auction beginning at $1,000. This is an oil-on-canvas of 2 terriers. She also had a decorative painting of a dog in an interior, also by George Armfield. This painting by George Armfield was offered at auction beginning at $1,200. This is a 19th century oil-on-canvas painting of a black and white cat sleeping by Dodd Proctor. This painting of the black and white cat sleeping was offered at auction beginning at $400. This is a 19th century oil-on panel of a seated dog, though he doesn't seem to be seated. He's kind of half-seated. This painting of the seated dog was offered at auction beginning at $500. She also had 4 needlework pictures of cats, probably English, 19th and 20th centuries, all wool on wool, framed, comprising a leopard with bead eyes, a lion with bead eyes inscribed in the lower center, and shepherd, a cat on a pillow with a ball, and a pair of cats with a pudding. It was offered at auction for $800. This is a continental Baroque oak lidded box, 18th century, with 1 drawer. It was offered at auction beginning at $400. This is a Louis XVI style brass-mounted mahogany console from the 20th century. It was offered at auction beginning at $2,500. Here we have 4 mineral specimens and 2 fossils on stands. They were offered together at auction beginning at $400. Also offered were a set of 6 books on yachting from the Santana. They were offered as a lot beginning at $500. These books were part of the shipboard library of the Santana, the yacht which Humphrey Bogart purchased in 1944 from fellow actor Dick Powell. Such was Bogart's love of sailing and of this yacht that the Santana became the namesake both of his production company and of the cruiser featured in Key Largo. Lauren Bacall wrote in her autobiography, quote, "The boat was Bogey's only luxury, expensive, but it meant his health and peace of mind," end quote. Also offered were a group of 45 art reference books, which included lavishly illustrated publications on Michelangelo, Goya, Max Ernst, Andy Warhol, and others. They were offered as a lot beginning at $700. Also offered were a group of 32 art books, including books about Pablo Picasso, Miro, Matisse, and Cezanne, offered as a lot beginning at $600. Also offered were a group of 46 books which were biographies of actors and others. They included presentation copies for Lauren Bacall, including by John Gielgud, David Niven, Richard Chamberlain, Shirley MacLaine, Peter O'Toole, and Alec Guinness. They were offered as a lot beginning at $800. This is a Syrian mother-of-pearl inlaid coffer from the early 20th century. The rear panel with 2 later hinged doors, the interior fitted with 2 lidded compartments, was offered at auction beginning at $2,500. Also offered were a pair of Italian neoclassical walnut oval low tables with white marble insert tops. It was offered at auction beginning at $1,200. This is another bronze by Robert Graham. This work is number 1 from an edition of 6. It was offered at auction beginning at $4,000. And here we have another bronze by Robert Graham. It was incised on the underside, For Betty, Love RG. This work is number 4 from an edition of 10. It was offered at auction beginning at $4,000. Here we have a Louis XV style caned beechwood burrow from the 20th century with a tan tufted leather seat cushion. It was offered at auction beginning at $800. And here we have a pair of continental leather upholstered fruitwood stools, which were offered at auction beginning at $800. Here we have a Louis XV style gilt bronze mounted mixed woods burrow with associated bookcase from the mid to late 19th century. It was acquired by Frederick Victoria and Son in 1983, who, by the way, were fellow Dakota residents. It was offered at auction beginning at $5,000. Also offered were a group of 12 marble and hardstone neoclassical style decorative objects, which comprised of 2 pairs of obelisks, a pair of large candlesticks, 2 frame marble mosaic pictures, and 4 paperweights. Offered as a lot, beginning at $1,500. Also offered were a pair of English or Dutch Baroque-style spiral-turned walnut and brass table lamps, offered at auction beginning at $400. Here we have an original Alexander Calder, Clouds and Discs from 1970. Lithograph in colors, on handmade paper, signed in pencil, offered beginning at $1,000. Here we have a modern brass inlaid white marble circular low table on a brass stand. The inlaid brass inscription reads, "In the name of Allah," and the bold center script reads, "Allah." Offered at auction beginning at $1,500. Here we have a pair of beechwood, over-upholstered club chairs, covered in white cotton with a raised pattern, with green and white Navajo-style slipcovers. Offered at auction beginning at $400. And so that gives you a general idea of some of the treasures that were located inside of Lauren Bacall's library. If you were rolling in dough, would you have bought any of that stuff at the auction? If so, which ones? Kindly let me know in the comments below. At this point, I want to thank you for joining me to check out the treasures in Lauren Bacall's library. Kindly remember to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because there will be more shows like this one, and I hope you check those out too. Please check out the links below to learn how to support my research and productions. I'd really appreciate it if you could become a member of this channel and or join me on Patreon. You could also leave a super thanks in the comments below. Kindly be kind to all of our fellow Earthlings, and please don't harm or eat them. They do not like that. Remember, for the benefit of compassion for all living things and their own health, brilliant people throughout history chose a plant-based diet. And please do yourself a favor and go to a local shelter and adopt a cat or a dog or both. You and they will be very glad that you did. Until next time, I wish you safe travels on all your journeys.